I'm Alma Lee. I'm a psychotherapist and transformative lifestyle resiliency coach and author, and I want to help you reach your goals by teaching you how to step outside of those fear-based mindsets and into your powerful, loving self. Let's get started. I always do a mic check and record myself before I actually start to record the actual episode, just to see how echoey it sounds, because I've been moving around so much lately that I've had to choose different places and areas to set up my computer in order to record this. And I'm sitting here earlier today feeling like, what do I need to talk about today? What is most important? And the other day it had occurred to me how impatient I was. And I thought, that's a great topic, because now that I have traveled, I've made all these huge life changes, I feel like being patient for me is the most critical. I can't tell you how critical it is for me to be patient right now, because there's so many moving parts and pieces in my life that I am out of control of. And so if I'm impatient, then I'm creating more anxiety in my life than is necessary. So I'm sitting here recording, I'm sitting here testing, and I'm sitting thinking about, man, it'll sure be nice when I get my place, when I get my household goods set up, and I can set my podcast mic stand back up the way it used to be when I was in my house in Goose Creek, because I am here in Italy now. This is my first episode that I'm recording here in Italy. And to give you more information, I'm located in my temporary lodging, and I'm here. Everything that I have desired and manifested for over the past 18 months has happened without fail. It's all here. And that's what makes this episode, or this topic, choosing the topic for this episode so difficult, is because I'm so happy. I'm so content. And so I always look for inspiration within myself on what is it that I seek? What is it that I can work on? What is it that I can pay attention to and improve within myself and share with you, the listener? And that's patience today. So that's something that I am being intentional with. My energy and my focus is being patient, because I've been working so hard to get here. I finally made it. Callie's here with me. Callie the cat. Callie, my a-hole cat. I love her. She is an a-hole. We're here. And so I have a whole new bag of things to be impatient about, right? I'm impatient about finding my house, finding either a condo or a home to rent. I'm impatient about my car getting here. I'm impatient about getting my things set up. I can sit here through all of these lists and labels and issues and go over it, and I can allow it to overwhelm me, or I can sit and I can challenge myself to be a good steward of my own improvement, of everything that I've been presented with, that I've presented myself by making these decisions, and be more patient. Are you an impatient person? I guess that's a good question to start with. What are you impatient about? What is it about your life that you are having to slow down and think about that you don't have right now? What is it about your future that you desire to be manifest now? For me, like I said, it's mostly logistics. It's just getting settled and getting more familiar with my new role here in my new job here in Italy, and being the support person that I want to be, and kind of collectively bringing all of my marbles in closer into the game, and not wanting all of those pieces to be so far away and so far out into the future. But the truth is that that's what life is. Everything about our life is about being present here now and enjoying what we have here now. And I got to say, each and every time that I focus and I think about all the changes that I've gone through lately, part of me wants to share everything, but the other part of me says I got to save something for myself. But I will say this. I have to say that I'm probably as happy as I've ever been in my entire life. And when I do my mindfulness and I do my meditation and I remind myself of just how incredibly happy I am right here and now. And then I take everything that I have going on in my life and I compare it to past versions of myself and what I used to think would make me happy. They're nothing alike. They're literally nothing alike. What I used to think I wanted to have in my life in order to be as peaceful and just at ease with who I am, my lifestyle right now is nothing compared to what I used to think I needed or wanted in my life. And so I take that understanding with how I move forward in my life, because everything that I have now and everything that I'm at peace with now in my life might very well change in the future. And I have to be okay with that. Buddha says attachment is the root of all suffering. Ram Dass, a spiritual leader that I follow, I highly suggest that you check him out. He talks about aging much in the same manner. You could be attached to your ideal youthful veneer, the youthful way your body looks, or you can rest with the fact that your wrinkles and the changes in your body is merely just a part of your experience, and that it's just as lovely and it's just as cool as the younger version of yourself. He talked about losing his hair. He went bald at an early age. He started balding it in his late 20s, early 30s, I think. And he was talking about how he let his hair grow and he would wrap it around the top of his head, and he was always aware of how the wind was blowing. But he said he was attached to the idea of having hair. What are you attached to that's making you look towards the future in fear or impatience? I think about that. I think about that a lot, and I think about everything that I have right here and now. It's so different than the way my life used to be. And if I had a snapshot of my life and what I'm doing now and presented that to my former self, I might have been terrified. I might have thought, oh God, no, that's horrible. I can't believe that my life turned out that way. I don't want that. That's not going to make me happy. Yeah, but I am. And I'm excited about where my life is going. I'm excited about the things that are transpiring in my life. And I'm doing everything I possibly can to stay here and now and really enjoy the moments that show up and the feelings that arise in those moments in the present time, because there is no past, there is no future. What are you impatient about? As a matter of fact, maybe the question needs to be asked, do you desire to become more patient? Do you think that you need to be a more patient person? I used to tell people all the time, I'm the most impatient person I know. And I think by and large it was true. I was very much a go-getter, very much future-focused, goal-focused. And there's nothing wrong with goals. Goals are great. Goals set us up and motivate us to continue to move forward. But when we're attached to a specific outcome, then we kind of open ourselves up for a lot of distress when that doesn't take place. It's more important to focus on the joy in the existence of the now than it is to look into the future, to withhold and restrain that joy for something to happen in a specific way so that you can express your joy. Maybe I'm getting too wordy, but all I can say is that I can recall being that person who was like, nope, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to go here, we got to make this happen so that that can happen, so that these things can fall into place. And it was just a never-ending tailspin, a fury of all these different pieces that have to come together in order to make a specific goal come into manifest. And it's just exhausting. It's exhausting to live your life that way. Are you exhausted? Does your own impatience exhaust you? Does the impatience of the people in your life exhaust you? You ever thought about it? You ever thought about how you're moving through your life? Like when you get up in the morning, what is the first thing that you do? Do you reach over and grab your phone, your cigarettes, your drink, your vice? Do you jump out of bed immediately and hop in the shower or let the dog out, or just immediately initiate this series of routines that you have to achieve in order for your day to be considered successful? What would happen? What would happen if you changed that a little bit, or if you started to sort of rewire your priorities on how you use your time? and how you think about the current present state of affairs that are happening in your life right now. I think about that a lot. I think about the areas in my life where sometimes I'll catch myself feeling like I'm wasting time. You ever do that? Like I could be more productive if I were doing A, B, C, or D. When in reality, maybe what you should be doing is exactly what you're doing. You know, driving home from work and you're sitting in your car and you give yourself a few moments listening to the radio or scrolling through your phone or just being in the quiet before you go into your home, and then you start a different function in your role of the day with your family. You know, taking some time for yourself, being patient. Do you get blamed for doing things for yourself? Now, I've been in situations in the past where I was blamed and made to feel bad, where if I spent time alone, if I did things for myself, if I scrolled through social media, first of all, I was very lonely, and that was my only source of a social outlet, and I was faulted for it. I was faulted for napping. I was faulted. It was just a series of judgments that I existed in that would just became, you know, the reason for my depression and anxiety and all the pills, and eventually becoming very, very hopeless. I don't ever want to go back to that person. I don't ever want to be so focused on the future because I hate where I'm at now in the present. And so I want to encourage you to focus on what's going on in your current state right now. What is it that you are hoping to change, hoping to look at to the future as far as I'll be happy when such and such occurs? Does that create impatience? Let's talk about why being patient is important, right? Could just a three. I usually go with three. So three reasons why being patient is important. Number one, when you're patient, you make better decisions. You just do, because when you slow down and you stop and you think and you breathe and you contemplate and you allow the situation to sort of mellow out, you make better decisions because you're making thoughtful decisions because you're taking the time to think. It's like taking an off-ramp on the interstate. You have to slow down in order to be effectively and safe in taking that off-ramp. You don't take the off-ramp at 100 miles an hour unless you're, absolutely out of your mind. Then you got other problems, right? So you make improved decisions. You have better relationships. Number two, you have better relationships. When you're patient, you aren't so apt to be judgmental of other people because you're allowing that person to show up as they are, right or wrong. But by having patience through your act of being patient, that's a demonstration of care and concern, compassion, empathy, and love. And it improves your relationships. It should anyway, if that person is receptive. Or at least it lets you recognize where you're at in the relationship by being patient, you see. And number three, your overall enhanced mental health. You're just going to feel better about life in general when you slow down, when you chill out, when you don't over-obligate yourself. And listen, I know just as well as anybody that we are in an instant gratification era. Everything is about now, now, now. I've often said that as a Gen X, I'm so grateful that I did not grow up with the internet, that my childhood and my adolescent mistakes are not on somebody's phone somewhere to be thrown in my face when I'm 80 years old. I'm so grateful that, I had to share the encyclopedias at school in the library and the books that we had to check out for book reports. We had to, we all had 2 weeks to do a book report because we all had to share the same books. Nowadays, kids they do it overnight. They get the assignment and it's due the next day because they have access to information overload. And that feeds and breeds this instant gratification, which also creates a sense of impatience in all of us. And you know what? You don't. If you don't know, you don't know. So this is not about judging you for being impatient. Please know that. This is not about saying, hey, you're not doing this correctly. You need to do this. No, I think maybe you've been groomed and, your life has been so overwhelming for so long that you just probably don't even know, but just to keep it up and just keep swimming. Just keep it up with everybody else. Stay the same pace. It's like running in a group. You're out of breath. You're about to pass out, but you're still going because everybody else is going so hard. Maybe it's time to fall back. Maybe it's time to say, hey, you know what? I need to pull my attention back and give myself a break here. It's important. It's critical. And understanding the reason why you're impatient is cause for you to make the changes to begin with. Yeah. So, all right, Alma, we get it. What are some ways to become more patient? I thought you'd never ask. Okay. 3 ways that you can cultivate more patience. Number 1, I'm going to say it. Your mindfulness and meditation routine. You do not have to be an expert. You don't. You just have to turn off the phone, turn off the TV, get away from all of the people around you. Go somewhere where you're safe in solitude. Be quiet. Rest with your eyes open. Find something to focus on. Focus on your breath. If you're a novice meditator and you're somebody that says, I don't know if this woo-woo tree hugging stuff is going to work for me, go with it anyway. Fake it till you make it. That's how I got here. I had no clue that I would ever become somebody who preached this, the philosophies of meditation like I do, and I will continue to do because it's critical. I can't live without it. I meditate and I engage in mindfulness techniques all the time throughout my day. All the time. Slow down. Mindfulness. When you slow down and you slow those racing thoughts, you offer yourself the opportunity to create, and that is where your power lies. So mindfulness and meditation. Number 2, just set realistic expectations. Don't have such lofty expectations of yourself, because when you have such grandiose ideas of an outcome with a short amount of time in there, you're going to be impatient. You're going to cut corners. You're going to rush through. You're not going to make good decisions. And at the end of the day, you're going to be worn out. You're just depleting yourself. And most of the time, it's unnecessary. When you set realistic goals and expectations, overall, that whole process, it can be more rewarding and it's less frustrating. Okay? Number 3, develop empathy. Now, this is something that I think is key. We typically are not empathetic towards other people and what they're struggling with because we are impatient. We are focused on us. We are in survival mode. We are needing to do what we need to do for ourselves first. So that limits our ability to see other people. That is key. When you intentionally look at what other people are doing, when you intentionally look at your loved ones, there's a person that I care about very deeply, very deeply. And for the longest time, I had some judgments. I think it was because I was in fear of maybe being hurt in my attachment to this person, or my connection rather. But I feel like when I talk to this person now, I have more empathy because I see the challenges that they face, and I see all of the work that they put in front of themselves, and I see how they refuse to fail themselves or the people that they care about. And I have been able to develop empathy in seeing that person. I don't like how hard this person works. Of course not, because I want this person to take some time for themselves. I want this person to take better care of themselves, their health, their diet, spending time alone and not being overworked all the time. But I also realize that I can't control that either. So I have to have empathy and try to understand why it's so important for this person to put so much on their plate. And I think I do, at least, from my perspective. I feel like this person has grown in a space of knowing that they just don't like failing, and they don't like feeling like they're a disappointment to other people. So they go above and beyond with their workload to justify the means of being unavailable to other people, you see. So have empathy. Look at other people around you. People that you care about, especially the people that you're in conflict with, or the people that you feel like are not showing up for you. Why is that? Are they deliberately trying to hurt you or cause you distress? And if that's the case, then that maybe is something that you need to consider as well in being patient, is to sit with that for a moment and understand it and define it to yourself. And maybe is this a person that you really need to spend that much time and invest that much energy into? And use discernment in that. And you can use discernment when you're patient, when you slow down. People struggle with being patient. People struggle with being patient. It's the instant gratification culture, like I was talking earlier, is wanting to have outcomes right here and now. When people are stressed out and they have anxiety, it tends to feed on itself. It's a loop. So when you're impatient, you actually create more stress and anxiety for yourself. You think you're working harder. You think you're impatient because if you can get to that outcome sooner, then you think you're going to have relief. But if it's a habit, then you're going to continually be more impatient as time goes on if you don't look at the issue intentionally and say, you know what, I probably need to change how I'm dealing with this matter. And then, of course, the unrealistic expectations of, people who struggle with being patient set lofty goals for themselves, and then they give them very short, abbreviated timelines because it feels good. Instant gratification. It feels good to have what we want right here and now. Like me, with my podcasting setup, the one that's in my household goods, it's 4 miles away from where I'm located right now, but I can't get to it because I don't have my apartment or my house set up yet. And so I have to be patient. I have to wait. But hopefully soon I'll have it all set up. But this is working for now, and it's available, and I'm grateful, and I'm here. Italy is beautiful. It's actually, the weather here is very similar to Charleston. It's very humid. It's very hot. It feels like the sun doesn't set. The sun stays up I think it was like 9:40 before it got dark here the other night. So we're deep in summer here in Italy, in northern Italy, north of Venice. And I'm excited. I'm excited to get my car and get my international driver's license. I got to set that up. I got to do all these things, but I got to be patient. It's out of my control. All right. This has been a Lee Bird Media production. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.